Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's me, Niall, here giving a quick reaction to the huge breaking news that's just been announced that Conor Benn will rematch Chris Eubank Jr. on September 20th in London, England. Of course, this is following on from their epic fight of the year contender back in April at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Chris Eubank Jr. prevailed by decision in an absolutely grueling war. So yeah, the pair are set to go at it again. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on this rematch, what it means for both men, and how I see it playing out. But yeah, make sure before we start that you drop a like on this video first of all, subscribe to our YouTube channel at ESBR Boxing, and follow us on all social media platforms. So yeah, Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, the rematch, it's on a few months after their April clash. And if it's, you can't help but be excited about this one based on how the first fight went. It's I wasn't looking forward to it as a spectacle the first time around. I didn't think it'd be as entertaining as it was. A lot of people thought the same, but yeah, they produced an absolute war of attrition. They backed up all the bad blood in the build-up, and carried it into the ring, and it was a fight of the year for me, the fight of the year so far. Absolutely outstanding, grueling war, and yeah, Eubank coming out on top by decision. They're going at it again now, September 20th. No venue confirmed as of yet, although Tottenham Hotspur Stadium seems to be looking like the favourite venue to land the fight again. Of course, the venue of the first fight was the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so I'd imagine it's going to end up there again. Tottenham Hotspur don't have a home game that weekend, I believe, so yeah, it lines up to land back there. Yeah, as I say, it's exciting in terms of purely being a fan. It's exciting if they pick up where they left off first time around, round 13, as they say, in these kind of multi-fight rivalries. If they pick up where they left off there, it's going to be absolutely outstanding. We're in for a treat, but there is a couple of big problems here. There really is. Well, there's one main problem, and it hasn't been announced yet at the time of recording. But what weight this is going to be at? This is the big, most intriguing part about this rematch, and the most dangerous part. Of course, we know the first fight was at 160 pounds. Chris Eubank Jr. had to shed an awful lot of weight, pretty dangerous amount of weight to get down to 160 against Conor Benn, who fought most of his career at 147 and 154. There was then the rehydration clause. No man, first of all, I forgot to mention that he, of course, missed the 160 pound limit on the Friday first time around. That's how hard it was. He did make the rehydration clause of 170 pounds, but we saw it in the fight. We saw no disrespect to Conor Benn. Conor Benn fought outstandingly in that one, but the weight cut, it's a weight cut that Eubank was having problems for even before the Conor Benn fight. Getting down to middleweight, getting down to 160, it had a huge effect. It really did, understandably so. A drastic effect on his performance that night. You could see it. He done incredibly well to dig in, go toe to toe, and dig a win out of the fire in such a big occasion like that with the kind of the weight problems. So it is a big factor, and on a personal level, we have to hope that there's kind of there's not that weight limit on it again of 160, whether it be a catch weight or 168. Who knows. And no rehydration clause, because if it's that 160 £160 again with a rehydration clause, it's going to be incredibly dangerous for Chris Eubank Jr. to put his body through that again. That was the takeaway the night of the first fight, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens again with this weight, what weight it's going to be at. But you know, I fear for Eubank Jr. here, because I don't think that Conor Benn and his team, I don't know what the stipulation in the contract was for the rematch clause, that the weight will probably have to be the same, with the same rehydration clause for the next day. I'd imagine. I'd imagine Conor Benn wouldn't have agreed to kind of go any higher than that. But if that's the case, this could be drastically dangerous for Chris Eubank Jr. It really could. So I would have hoped that cooler heads prevailed after watching that first fight in terms of discussions around the weights, but I can imagine it's going to be at middleweight again. Um, it was in the contract, although you'd imagine, Eubank has, carries all the kind of the weight in this one after winning the first fight. But yeah, if it's at 160 pounds again, it drastically changes things, and it drastically changes my prediction for the fight. Before the first fight, I thought there was no hope in hell that Conor Benn could beat Chris Eubank Jr. Too small, too one-dimensional. He hadn't kind of impressed, bar the period of kind of suspicion around him. He hadn't impressed before that, in terms of his boxing ability and his kind of skill set. And then stepping up against Chris Eubank Jr., who, a natural middleweight, who's fought at super middleweight and held his own. I thought it was a disaster, but of course, he proved a lot of people wrong. He proved me wrong and a lot of people wrong. By nearly beating Chris Eubank Jr., very nearly beating him, in an absolute war. Took big shots, gave big shots, and nearly got the job done. But yeah, this time around, in terms of the fight, as I said, it's all about the weight. This is the big question tonight that a lot of people want answered. What weight is this going to be at? And if it's at 160 pounds, I'm going to make a drastic kind of change on my original prediction for the first fight and say Conor Benn beats Chris Eubank Jr. In terms of boxing ability, Eubank is probably the one that can make the most adjustments, more adjustments. He's more versatile, he's quicker, but that weight cut was a tough watch. As much as I enjoyed the first fight, it was a tough watch. Watching kind of Eubank Jr. in there after shedding so much weight that had a bad effect on him. And yeah, I just think it's too dangerous if he's getting himself down there again. So I just hope nothing drastic does happen. But I think the weight will be the deciding factor again here, and Conor Benn will be the fresher of the two. And I think he'll get it done this time, perhaps setting up a trilogy. If it's as good as the first fight. But yeah, that's for another day. Pressure again on Eubank Jr. Weight, no matter what the weight, the pressure was on him the first fight to get the win against a smaller, less proven man, and it'll be on him again, to get it done. So the pressure's off Ben here, pressure's on Eubank, and yeah, Ben will be the more refreshed man, in there like the first time around, but Eubank just pulled that from somewhere. I don't know where he pulled that from the first fight to get himself over the line, but I can't see him doing it again, especially at his age. What is he, 35 years old now? I just think it's going to be too much. So, yeah, hopefully it doesn't end up too drastic. Hopefully nothing too dangerous happens to either man. But yeah, that was just my quick reaction for the huge breaking news this evening that Conor Benn will rematch Chris Eubank Jr. Yeah, following on from their bitter feud, and their fight of the year back in April, they're gonna get it on again, September 20th, London again. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. How excited are you for this one? Do you think it'll be round 13? Do you think it'll be as good as the first fight? And most importantly, what weight do you think this will be and should be at? And does that change your opinion of the fight? What is your prediction for this big one? September 20th, London, possibly Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So yeah, get involved down below. As always in the comments, have your say. And as I said at the start of the video, please, if you're not doing so already, first of all, drop a like on this video. Then subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not doing so already at ESBR Boxing. And follow us on all social media platforms. Until next time, take care.